Hey everyone, welcome back to the stream, welcome to my channel, and welcome to yet another chapter working on this guy right here, the F-51 Mustang. So, where are we at this thing? We are taking a long time getting this thing done, aren't we? Yes, it does take some time. 1/32 scale Tamiya kits, they tend to take some time because there's a lot of detail and a lot of things to assemble. The nice thing about it though is Tamiya makes it really easy because, well, that's Tamiya engineering, Tamiya quality, everything that all of us in the modeling, I want to say industry, but I'm not in the modeling industry. I just like to build models. But everybody who builds models have come to appreciate the quality that Tamiya does. Yeah. Anyway, so basically, last time we got to the point where it's time. They want us to install the landing gear and stuff like that, but of course I need to do a lot of painting first. So these kind of steps were like, yeah, okay, so we've got it prepared. This is going to be ready to go in, but we're not actually going to put it in because we've got a lot of painting to do on the actual fuselage first. Okay. So in the meantime, I was looking at all our rockets, and originally I was like, I don't want to put rockets on this thing because, you know, these planes, they look nice and clean with nothing underneath of them, and it's just so beautiful. And anyway, but I had pre-drilled the holes in the bottom. Bing, 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 bing. Got all these pre-drilled holes for rockets and stuff like that. So I need to do it. Originally, when I was drilling these holes out, I was thinking that the rockets are going to have separate pods because that's usually how things are done. They've got a pod, like a mount for the rocket or a missile, and if you're working on a newer plane, you got a mount, and then you've got the actual missile. Like I would if I was going to be installing one of these fuel tanks. We have an actual pod like this, a mount, and that guy would go on here, and then, well, actually upside down, go like this, two separate pieces. But if you wanted to, say, have the plane not have the tank, you just install this, because this is always on the plane. This would go in that little spot, kind of like this, right in there, and you would have that just sit there, and there you go. You would have no actual tank or bomb or missile or whatever, right? I thought that's what I was dealing with. But then when it actually came time to take a look at these rockets a little more in depth, they have the mounts already on them, and the rocket is one piece except for the fins, which that was fun. I always hate doing fins. I'll change the camera so you can have a look, because obviously I've put these together and I've painted them, so I'll switch the camera out so you can have a look a little bit better. I hope I got this set up a little bit better than last time with the focus done. Uala sneaky, they did something that isn't typical to the other models. That's right, Uala, they went and tricked me on this one. So obviously I have built my rockets all here and I've painted them. Okay, so, and I did a little bit of weathering on it. I don't know if the camera's really going to pick it up. Where am I here? A little bit of weathering just at the mount here, a little bit of weathering there, and where the rocket mounts. And there is a piece of photo etch that goes into the back on these things, right there. It's just a little round thing that goes in there. There's a little bit of extra detail that Tamiya's done. A couple of decals that go on, one right here and one right here. The camera's not really picking them up very well, but you can sort of see them as I rotate. You can see the decal there, some writing, and this one is yellow. It's a good contrast against the olive drab color on that. Anyway, so we got 6 of these, and I did notice every single one of these, the pin is a little bit different. If I line these up for you on my desk, these two are the same. Actually, they're not. See, the back pin here is different. This one's got the pin is forward, and then it's got a smaller one. This one's the same. This one has 1 and 1, but this one is at the forward, just like this one. This one's at the back. This one's at the front here. This one's in the middle, this one's at the front, and this one has 2 pins at the front. So it's even a third type. Okay, and then we have another one. These two are the same. These two match. Okay, these two match, these two match, and these two match. But yet, looking at the underside of the plane, I have this, but these other holes, they don't match at all. So this one here that has the 2 pins at the front and then 1 at the back, that one lines up and it matches up perfectly, right? So that's fine. None of these other ones. If I take this one might match. No, it's too far. See that? The distance is too far. This one, again, it's still too far. They do not line up. They don't match at all. So I want them all to be level. So I'm going to basically, for these two, I'm going to ignore the fact that there are holes there. I'm going to cut the back pin off and just line them up straight so that at least my fronts all line up, right? Those are going to be lined up and all straight. These are the pods for you have the option of either the fuel tank, or you can do the fuel tank, you can do the napalm tank, or you can do a bomb. I already have one bomb assembled here. I'm going to assemble a second one today for you, and I'll assemble another tank. And I'll show you how I added some dents to the tanks also. Okay, so let's put that aside. So that's basically it. So I got a little bit of, custom work I need to do with my rockets to get them to actually fit. I'm actually going to have to be cutting off these pegs at the back to put them in. But that's okay. That's not the end of the world. It's not a big deal. Okay. I will switch the camera because I want to show you guys the fuel tanks and stuff like that and how I put them together. Okay. So, this is a fuel tank here, and as you might see, as I rotate it around, you might see some imperfections in this, a couple of spots. See, it looks like a dent, right? We got a dent in our tank. How do we get dents in our tank? Well, one thing I did notice, I saw some reference photos on the older planes and stuff like that, and you see these fuel tanks lying on the airfield. I guess they're spares or whatever, and they are beat up. They really don't care. They did not care about these tanks at all. There's no love for the fuel tanks, and they would let them roll around and bang into things and stuff like that, and they would get dents in them and whatever, and they didn't care. As long as they weren't leaking, they didn't care. So I decided I'm going to make this a little bit realistic, and I'm going to put my own couple of dents in there. So first thing off, Tamiya has undergated these. Undergated means that the sprue is not attached to the side of it, but actually underneath on the side that never going to be seen. So you got to clean these up first, okay? You got to clean them up, otherwise it will not go together. And I'll show you an example. We got holes here to line it up, a hole here, and you get your pin and pin, and so you put them together. And yeah, it looks good, right? Yeah, it looks nice, perfect. Woo. Oh, wait, what's going on? Oh, look at that. Look at that. And that's because they undergated it, so you need to trim that off. You need to get your knife and get rid of that. Get that nice and smooth so that the pieces will go together. Okay? The nice thing about these is one side has this lip going all around, and that's a weld seam that they do in real life. And so you don't have to worry about getting rid of your seam. And that's a really nice feature on that, because it really makes your life easy. A lot of times you got modern aircraft with their drop tanks and stuff like that. and they've got no seam on them, so you need to spend a lot of time cleaning up your seam to get them nice. Okay, so there's that. Now there's another piece. There's the actual fuel inlet that goes on the tank. Let me look at my instructions for that. That's going to be our. That's not this one. This is the napalm. So we're going to do this one. And that is T1. Okay. So it's this guy right there. Actually, sorry, it's one. It's this one here. Did I do that right? Actually, I got the right one on there. I may have put the wrong one on this guy. Let me look back at my instructions. I'm supposed to put T1, and I wound up putting T2. I put T2 on this one. So let's see if I can get rid of this T2. This has been sitting, I glued this like a few days ago. See, it's important to pay attention. Pay attention to your instructions, or you wind up doing stupid things like this, like I do. And this is why I'm not a professional. Yeah, that's really glued on there now. Okay. Snip. Don't want to have to do that because that's awful. But in order to do it right, that's what I had to do. So we have that. Let me get the T1 off of the other tree here. That's why it's important to be awake, to pay attention, watch your instructions. Yeah, let me fix this here. This is bugging me. There. So this guy, let me change my glasses. I haven't changed my glasses yet. I'm trying to do some detail work and I haven't changed my glasses. Okay. So this guy, fine, pick it up with my fingers. This guy just sits down there and he sits flush. Okay. Now the direction it sits in, I'm not sure. I'm going to see if I can reference the instructions. Okay. They kind of show you the direction that this sits in. It's kind of like this. Like that. So, there we go. And that's it, and it sits flush. Okay. Now, to deal with this one, because this is now flush, it doesn't have that anymore. I'm going to have to try and work at this to get that one to sit flush in this one. So I will try to cut this one out. Was not intending to. This is something that came up and I was not prepared, but that's all right. If I can get this so that it's pretty much back to normal. Careful not to carve too much out of there. Very easy to carve too much. Okay, I'll try that. Now because of that, see, this is going to sit high, and I'm going to try and get that to be flush. So I'm going to try and carve a little bit off the bottom of this, make it just a little shallower. Let's see if I can maybe that failed. Let's try another way. File. Using the edge of my file. Let's see if I can turn this into a flatter piece of plastic. See if that fits a little more flush. Well, it's better. It's definitely better. But we're not 100%. I want to get in here a little bit steeper angle and get closer to the edge. If I can make it more vertical up and down on the actual inside, I might have a little more success. Let's see how that is. A little test fit. It's better. Now, of course, what I'm doing is risking a chance of dropping this inside the tank. That would be tragic. But I think I'm going to leave it like that, and that's going to be good enough. I think that's good enough. Okay, so fixed. We got the proper tank filler cap in there, so we can move on to our tank that we didn't have to alter anything. Okay, and we're going to put some dents in this guy. How do you put dents in it? How do you put dents in it? Well, this is how I do it. I take a lighter, or in this case, a little torch. This little torch I got on Amazon. I don't know if you can see it very well, but yeah, whew, hot stuff. So this is just a little butane torch. That's going to work. And what I can use the end of this and put it that. I can do the side, whatever you want. Whatever kind of dent you want to put. You don't do it for very long. You don't want to put a lot of heat on it. Just enough to make the plastic soft, okay? And so that's all I'm going to do. Just enough that I see the plastic kind of turn a little bit, and put a, if you try and press it and nothing happens, do just a little bit longer. There we go. A little bit of a dent right there. Okay, there's one. I'm going to do another one up here. You can do different shapes, whatever you like. That one looks pretty good. Another one there. I'm going to do another one and do a third. Let's say this tank's been really beat up. I'm going to do this edge. There, we got a big dent. Nice visible dent there. That's good. And I'm going to put another one up on this side. Right around there, I think. This tank's been beat up. It's been rolled around. And not enough. Not enough. It cooled off. Well, that was enough to actually hurt my fingers, but not enough to actually melt the plastic. Now you see, I went way too far in heating up this plastic, and I really messed it up there. I have ruined this. Okay? I ruined that totally. That doesn't look realistic at all. That looks totally awful. So unfortunately, I have ruined this. That looks like crap. So I am going to try and get some putty and fill that in a little bit. And I'll have to try and get my sculpting skills to fix that, because that just looks terrible. So unfortunately, all of my putties that I use are very soft, and as soon as I try and sand it, it's not going to really work. It's not going to hold. What I'm going to do is not use fuel tanks. I'm going to do bombs. I've gone and ruined my tank. It looks like crap. I'm not a good sculptor when it comes to this, so I cannot repair that in such a way that I'm going to be happy with it. So, yeah, I'm not going to do tanks. I'm going to do bombs. Just as simple as that. I already got one bomb made. I might as well just build the other one. So, forget the tanks. Forget these. Bye. Bye. Bombs it is. Bombs away. Alright, so we're doing bombs. I already got pieces aside here taken off the sprue to do these bombs. So these two go together like this. I already cleaned up the nubs, so there's nothing extra to do there. That's one way to change your mind. Make sure that you just make one plan undoable. Okay, the bombs, they fit together pretty perfectly. There's nothing really to say about them. Tamiya's fit has been pretty flawless through this build. I won't say it's perfect, but it's pretty close. The only thing I found a little bit hard on the other bomb was to get this little piece down inside there. So I used a different set of tweezers to try and grab this like this, because it wants to fly away on me. So get in there and then I can drop it in. So I use my different glue edge. Drop that in there. I mean, it fits perfectly. It's just getting it down in there is a little bit hard to do. And there you go. So there's a bomb. That's all there is to it. There is a piece of photo etch that goes onto the back here, but we'll worry about that a little bit later. I need to sand our sides down to make sure they are flush, because I can feel a little bit of an edge, so I want to make sure those are nice and round, nice and, round. I want to make sure they're round and smooth. So I don't need my file for that. That's a little too aggressive. So I like to use my file here and just go very lightly in a circular motion. I find with this file, if I just go one direction, it will leave gouge marks that are kind of hard to fix. But if I go in circles, it does a pretty good job. Of course, some places you don't have much choice but to go unidirectionally, if that's a word. I don't think that's a word. I think I just made that up. Still a little bit of an edge here. There we go. That's looking better. I'm not too concerned about the back edge because this is going to be under the wing. Once you get under the wing, you don't really see. This is going to be the top of the bomb, right? So this is really the top side. So maybe you might see it at the front. So yeah, I want to make sure this is good. This is the underside, where every time I pick up the model and have a look at it, we're going to see it. So I want to make sure this side's good, right? While I'm doing this, remind you guys to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and then you get notifications whenever I upload a new video. And for you guys watching me on Twitch, which I know there's probably like 3, maybe 2 people watching me on Twitch right now. Obviously Uala is, because he actually said something. This is feeling pretty good enough, so I'll switch over to 1000 grit just to give this a little bit of a buff. Sanding sponge. Doesn't have to be super smooth. I'm not looking for perfection on this. If it was like a missile or an F-14 or something like that, then yeah, I'm going to be a little bit more diligent in making sure my seam line is completely gone, because that missile is going to be painted white or something like that, or very light gray. This is going to be olive drab in color, so it doesn't really matter too much. But there we go. That's good enough. I'm going to fire up my air compressor. I have my olive drab right here. This is just the XF62 olive drab. Finish off my coffee here. And we'll grab an alligator clip. And I think if I just get in here and grab it by that thing. Perfect. There we go. The other thing I need to do, because I can't get in there, I'll have to touch up on the inside here on this little on each little side, all 4 sides inside there, because obviously I can't spray with my alligator clip in the way. Okay, just make sure it's mixed good. Alright. I always like to take the back off of this, off of my airbrush. I don't know why, just because I don't need it on there, and I like to take this off because I find this gets paint on the inside and kind of gets clogged up. And if I do get some tip drying on my needle's exposed, so it's very easy to just grab a cloth and go wink and clean it off, right? Yeah, so that's just what just a preference. So, don't need a lot. I'm only painting 1 missile after all. Just a little bit in the cup is all I need. And I called it a missile, but it's a bomb. So I'm not going to bother changing the camera. You're just going to see all of a sudden I'm going to come back with a green bomb. Just because it doesn't take a lot to paint this guy. As you can see, I'm getting kind of a base coat on him now. Now he's looking a lot darker green, so yeah, I'll just do 1 more coat just to seal it all up and make sure it's good and a good coat on him. And there we go. We've got a nice little green, olive drab green bomb. Okay, put him aside and let him dry. And I'll switch my camera, and I gotta clean up my brush now. And like I usually do, you guys watching me live, you get to watch me clean my brush, and you guys watching me on YouTube, let's skip ahead. So, as usual, I got way too much. I grabbed way too much and don't need that much in my brush. But that's just my habit. Always put way more paint in my cup than I really need for the project at hand. So I would rather have too much paint than not enough. Right? That's just me. I'd rather have way more paint than I need. I would much rather have more paint than I need than to run out and have to stop partway through and get more. That is like the most, and that's terrible. It's a horrible thing in my opinion if I actually run out. Well, my cup is clean now. Clean cup. Clean cup is important. As usual, I like to pull the needle out. I think I'm going to have to, I'll spend some time later and really maybe even pull this apart and clean it out really good. Get all the paint out of the barrel, just because my technique of pulling the needle out through the back tends to deposit a little bit of paint in the back of the barrel of the gun back in here. And well, yeah, maybe it's not the best technique, but it allows me to make sure my needle is perfectly clean every single time I use the brush, right? So I like to make sure my needle is always zero paint on that when I paint. So yeah, unfortunately by doing this, I always get a little bit of paint deposit in the barrel of the airbrush. So yeah, that's just the way it is. One of those things. Okay, so in doing that, now that we're back and I've got my gun clean, let's switch back. Okay, so we got a bomb done. Okay, that bomb's done. There is a piece of photo etch that's supposed to go on the back of the bomb. A5, looks like a little propeller. Let's grab A5. These little guys. We have 3 on here, but we only got 2 bombs. That's perfectly alright. That means we got an extra. When I was putting on the little things that go on the back of these, I actually had one fly away on me. So I actually only have 5 of the 6 of that little detail. I don't know if the camera will really pick up on it. It's kind of hard to see that. You can see it's shiny, but you can't really see the detail of it. Yeah, Tamiya gave me the exact amount of those that I needed with no extras. And of course I had one, it just went bing and it was gone. Like I have no clue where it even could have landed. Because not only did I not see where it landed, I didn't even hear where it may have landed. There you are. Okay. As I'm sure you guys enjoy looking at the top of my head. Okay, so we have our little propellers. And that's supposed to go on the back of this thing. So, that means we got to get our CA glue instead of these. Get my little thing ready here. Okay. Just like that. Okay. That's one. That one. Done. This little detail. Now I don't know if those are actually supposed to be green. I would imagine them. It doesn't say. Does it say? Oh, they want you to paint that little rod aluminum. So I'm going to guess our little fan thing is supposed to be aluminum. Right there. Aluminum. So our little rod and fan blade is aluminum. Now, for our little mounts, see what I did is they're the same, A5 or A5, whether you're going to do the napalm or if you're doing the napalm or you're doing your fuel tanks or you're doing the 500-pound bombs, the mounts are the same. It's all A5 and A6. They're the same. But what's different is your little mounting brackets are going to be different. Okay, so in this case we're doing J8 on both sides. If I was doing the tanks, it was going to be J8 and 9, right? Because the angle of the tank is different than the bomb. But we're doing J8s front and back. I've already got the J8 on the front because I wasn't quite sure, which is, I'm really glad now, I wasn't quite sure which one I was going to use. So I got to grab the other J8s and put them on. Okay. So, my J trees, are right here. So, I haven't touched this one. I took 2 off of this one, right? So I'll grab the 3rd one off of this, and then I'll grab one off of this. Tamiya has these held on with 3 spots. Okay, there we go. That's actually J9. I don't want J9. I want J8. See, pay attention. That's important. You gotta pay attention. Okay. There's our J8s. And they're going to be facing each other. See the direction this is facing? It's towards the center. So the other one's going to go towards the center also. Kind of like this. I did find that this hole is a little tight. With a little bit of persuasion, it does go in the hole. I have a feeling with the side, with the volume that this song is playing at, YouTube is going to want to demonetize this video. Now this would be a little easier to fit in there if I put some glue on it first. Glue, of course, acting as a kind of a lubricant many times. Helps get it in there. Doesn't want to go, so we're just going to make it fit. Open that hole up a little bit. So I found the other ones were tight, but not tight like this. There we go. We're in. Tight fit. There we go. Down all the way. So that's that. And you can kind of eliminate this problem by actually putting glue on first. Glue does soften the plastic and allows it to slide in a little bit better. A little bit easier. Right? If that's the way you want to go. So I'm going to try this one. This side. Now you see, this one went in a little bit easier. No problem. We're in all the way, just like that. So, you know, your mileage may vary. Depending on how much paint, you know, I do have this already primered, so the primer can act as a barrier and make that hole a little bit tighter too, so that could be another thing. So now bombs are done. I need to paint the back end aluminum, those pieces, and I got 3 decals to put on. Got decals to put on the bombs here, right, before you install them. Oh, we've got to put A8 on the front also. And we got to paint the very tip aluminum. So A8. A8. These guys. Again, we got 3, even though there's 2 bombs. See the things that I miss? I'm not paying attention. Okay. Switch glues. Going onto the tip. I'm not sure if there's a specific angle these are supposed to be at, but this has just got glued down and it's already set, so that's where it's going to be set. So that's the angle it's at. Like it or not, that's the way it is. I kind of have it up and down in between that. So that's what I'm going to try and go for on this one. In a similar position. Now this one is upside down, so let's see if I can flip it over. Here we go. So let's try. So I've got a little bit of aluminum painting to do on the back end of this. That's going to be fun. These need to be painted silver. But I think my best bet is to actually put these on the plane, and then I'm going to paint them fuselage color. These are left and right specific, okay? When you flip these over and you see your little pegs, they are left and right. Okay. Just like that. I don't know if the camera's really going to be showing you these where the pegs are, but on this one the peg is on this side, right there. And on this one the peg is on this side. Right? So you got left and right specific because your holes are not. This is where they go. This hole here and this hole here. So this one's a little more towards the inside here, this way, right? And then this one is a little bit there. Social Alan, hello, how are you? And then this one here, again, this one is a little more towards the inside. So you just got to pay attention, otherwise your pins won't line up, right? And that's that. So this is going to mount on here. We've got a hole here that's going to line up with the hole there. And so that's going to make that easy to line up and install on it just like that, right? Just like that. So the one thing they have done is just basically said, yep, we're going to paint the main pod is AS12, but then our brackets are XF16, right? XF16 is just aluminum. So we want silver and then aluminum. So what I'll do is I'll just paint them the same as the underside of the wing, and then I'll just paint these aluminum by themselves, and then I'll put the bombs on, right? And then of course we've got decals that they're showing us to put on here, and then we've got this too, A4, which is going to go right here. That, what do they call that? The pitot tube, I believe they call that. That's going to go on that side, on that wing also, right there. So let's have a look. This little hole right there is where a pitot tube goes, right? Again, that's going to be a final detail after painting, because with all the stuff I still have to do, I keep putting this plane down, that's just going to break off, right? And that happens all the time with me. I try and add those little details while I'm still in assembly process. Yeah. Okay, next we have our prop, and we have our two options of propellers based on what type of plane you want to build, okay? You either have the paddle blade propeller or you have the propeller with cuffs, okay? Either way, okay? So, some similar pieces, we're going to need R2 for the front cone, and then these are going to be all the same regardless, okay? Going to grab our large poly cap to go in between. So let's grab our R trees, because that's clearly what we need. R. Well, I'm not going to be doing this, as you can see I just kind of scribbled it off. We're not doing the paddle blade, we are doing the cuff, okay? So, let's let's put these little pieces aside here, out of my way, let all that glue cure and be nice and happy as we deal with other stuff. R-tree. Where's my R-tree? Here's the R-tree. Okay. So we're going to start with R20 and 23. R20 and 23. Sorry, Social Alan, I realize you came in and said hi everyone, and yeah, the only one who said hi back was me. Next we need R28 and R6, that's our blades. Okay, our actual blades. Okay, and then we're going to need R2 to go on the front. And we'll just hold off on the rest right now as we get ready to assemble these. I want to clean up this nub here. There's a couple of things on here. It's kind of like, okay, why bother? Because why bother painting it? It's going to be hidden in behind. I'll show you in a minute. See, this one I want to clean up nice because this is going to be shown. You're going to see this. This is going to go right here. And you're going to see that part, right? So I want this to be clean, right? I don't want no ugly remainder of a nub mark showing there. So I'm just going to clean that up a little bit here. I mean, yeah, I cleaned it up with the knife, but it's still, you know what I mean? It's just, you can do better than just the knife. Okay, I'm happy with that, I think. Alright, okay, there's that. Now, the polycap. I gotta find my big polycap. I think that's in here. Large polycap right there. This guy's going to go in the middle here. Like that. Goes in there. And then this gets put on. We've got a little notch here. And that's got to get lined up on there. I think. No? Oh, maybe there. Yeah. Just like that. Okay. Okay. Now let's deal with our propellers. Again, cleaning up our nubs. And of course the prop's painted black, so yeah, you get some little imperfection on your nub cleanup. It's not the end of the world, right? Other pieces, yeah, you want to make sure it's all clean, nice and smooth, but this part, not so much. It doesn't really matter. Do your best. That's all that counts. And one more. Okay, so these two go together, and how do they go? They go with this on the front, so it looks like this. Like that. I don't put anything in between them, I just do that. Doink. Okay. There we go. Propellers assembled. Okay. And then this guy, see, they undergated this one, so you gotta clean it up on this edge. See, they undergate this piece, which is actually gonna be hidden. And they have this kind of as a hex pattern, but this is just circular in here. So it's kind of like, why have this as a hex pattern when that's just going to sit on there like that and not really be affected by anything? Twist to spread the glue around on the inside, but not too much because this glue doesn't like to, it starts to cure really quickly. Okay, so we have that. So looking at our instructions, these two go together. You don't want to glue the poly cap, okay? But they say they do want to score it. So I gotta pull that out of there. Shouldn't be too hard, it's just gonna fall out. Doink. So according to the instructions, you want to take your hobby blade and put a slice in it. So it just says score polycaps, and that's it. So does that mean you just put one slice down and that's it? Or should I slice all the way through? That's a good question. I do not know. I don't have an answer for that. So it was really easy. I went about halfway down with the knife. See, it's hard for me to find where I did it. Okay, right there. I went about halfway down. Okay. I don't know if that's all I need or if I need to go all the way. I'm gonna go all the way. Go all the way through. There we go. We got a slice all the way down. We'll put that in there. And then this is gonna get glued on. We have a little notch right here, and that's gonna line up with that little notch there. And so we're going to go like this and get that glued in like that. I don't want to glue the poly cap, so I'm just going to glue on the inside of this rather than trying to glue on the outside of that. Find our notch. Line that up. There we go. There we go. And the last thing is to put R22 on, which is the cone, which is going to cover everything. After them telling us, they're telling us to paint this chrome, paint all this in here chrome, right? Paint these black, all that fun stuff. And then put our cap on. The cap, of course, this guy here, number 22. Looks like they undergated this one too for me. And they show you here that you've got to go and you've got to get rid of those nubs on the other side because they've got them in here, right? Now I trimmed them away pretty good when I took it off the sprue, but you still have to clean them up. There we go. Okay. And then this would go they even have a pin on the inside to line it up in the hole here. There we go. Doesn't quite want to go down all the way. Maybe my nub cleanup needs to be improved, or it does only go one particular spot. So I've got, it's not quite going down all the way. So I'm not sure what the problem is exactly. Everything else seems to be lining up perfect, but my cone is not. So I'm thinking I'm going to get rid of our pin in the middle there. Get rid of this pin and stop relying on that. Stop relying on this pin. That pretty much cured the problem. Is it perfect? No. But it's a lot closer. I can try and get these things shaved down a little bit. Shave those down and we'll see. It's not bad. It's not a perfect fit. I'm sure there's probably some 3D printed versions of the prop that line up a lot better, a lot cleaner. But I think this is probably good enough. See, this side, there's no gap at all on this side. But this side there is. Right there's a gap here and here. So, and there's nothing I can do no matter what position I have it. There's that gap. The gap just seems to be there no matter what. I mean, if I really, that position right there seems to match the best. So that's the one that's I'm going to go for right there. See if my big ugly clamp will work in holding it in position. No, can't use it. So I'm just going to be holding it by hand, I guess. So let's put some glue on it. Unfortunately, because of the way it is, that hurts a little bit. The amount of pressure I've got to put to completely close up that gap kind of sucks, but it is what it is. But I'm gonna have to hold it, and I'll just have to wait. And if I use some CA glue, yeah, I wouldn't have to hold it for nearly as long. But the CA, even though the CA is thin, it's going to leave something on the surface that I don't like, and so yeah, that's just the way it is. I'll just swap out my holding apparatus. As my thumb gets tired. This, change to fingers holding it instead of thumb. Yeah, there's always that option, right? Yeah. Anyway, guys, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to hold this for the next few minutes. And yeah, I'm going to hold this for a few minutes while it's doing its thing, and basically see, that's it for now. While I just sit here and do this while the glue is setting. So that means that's going to be it for this one. Not really getting a lot done today, but I am happy. I got the prop assembled and I got my bombs painted. So that's where we're going to leave it for now, guys. I want to thank you for coming out and thanks for watching. And yeah, I'll just continue to hold this until the glue's dry, and then we'll continue on with something a little different next time, right? We'll move on. And looks like maybe the canopy. I have to do some masking on the canopy and get that ready to go. And then we'll get to some panels on the underside that we're going to be doing next. Yeah. So yeah, that's going to be it for now, guys. So thanks for watching. Hit that like button, hit subscribe, leave a comment down below, let me know what you think. Always want to know what you guys are thinking about this stuff. And yeah, we'll see you all in the next one.